Good morning class, welcome to your daily current affairs on paper Hindu. Let's see today's articles. India rejects J&J's, Johnson & Johnson's attempt to extend patent on TB drug. So currently it has monopoly in TB drug and it is going to be expiring by July end. So beyond July it asked for the extension, but government did not give for it. So other companies which can produce this particular drug called bedaquiline. So bedaquiline, the production of this drug was earlier monopolized by only J&J, and now that monopoly will be ending by July, and some other companies like manufacturers like Lupin, McLeod's, they can also be now manufacturing, making it available for the poor too, okay, for at the cheaper cost. Next. Skipping on the local news. Stolen Chola era Hanuman temple or Hanuman Idol brought back to India. So this particular Hanuman Idol was from Chola era and it was stolen a decade ago. Later on it was found in US, or just let me read out the facts of this particular idol. So a rare variety of bronze idol of Hanuman dated back to Chola era from Chola era temple, Ariyalur districts a decade ago, auctioned by Christie's, an art auction house at US. So it was stolen back in India. Later on it was sent, it was auctioned now in USA, which was purchased by a US citizen residing in Australia, and it was retrieved by our idol wing CID of Tamil Nadu. So it is now back to India. Okay, next. So it is a bronze idol. Cyberabad police unearthed massive data theft and sale. So data theft has been happened. Currently cyberspace, this is very important for your cyber security part of GS3. So a massive data breach that has implications for the national security unearthed by the Cyberabad police of Hyderabad. So the police arrested 7 people of a gang allegedly involved in theft and sale of government data, including defense personnel data. So it included 2.55 lakh defense personnel data as well as 6 crore citizens across the countries. All this data has been breached. So the accused were found selling more than 140 different categories of information, Cyberabad Police Commissioner Stephen Ravindra has told. So they have breached this data and they have been selling unauthorizedly. So they have been arrested. This data theft is increasing day by day, which needs to be addressed. Next. Government tapping technology to secure ancient scriptures for future, says Shah. So Home Minister Amit Shah, as mentioned, has inaugurated a new Vedic heritage portal. So currently they are trying to digitalize the available art and culture to make it available for future generations. So Union Minister said that the government was securing the knowledge in India's ancient scriptures and manuscripts for the future through technology. So he has inaugurated this Vedic heritage portal, important for your art and culture prelims. So he has inaugurated this by created by Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts. Says Mr. Shah said that the younger generation would be able to carry forward the knowledge and traditions of Vedas and Upanishads. So IGNCA comes under Ministry of Culture directly. So it has all the different what it has. And he also inaugurated the virtual museum called Kala Vaibhav, where it has incorporated 64 different arts, through which he said the world would be familiar with India's architecture, painting, drama, music, and thereby rich history of our country, history and heritage, right? So currently this virtual museum is incorporating all the different kinds of arts available in the country to make it available for the future generations and to conserve our art and culture. Okay. Next. Another data as part of your health SNT important. Covid-19 precautionary dose uptake is 27%. So the third dose currently penetration of this third dose is 27% only. That is about this data, nothing more there in this particular article. So first primary dose 97% of the people got vaccinated, second 90%, whereas the third dose, which is a precautionary dose, only 27% all over the country has taken, right? So this data has been released amid hiking COVID cases again. Next. One conviction for unsafe seizure so far, government tells panel. So manual scavenging is strictly prohibited. So as part of that, center says it is monitoring 616 such cases. 616 cases have been monitored, out of which only one person got convicted. So data shows 1035 deaths from hazardous sewage cleaning since 1993. Kin of 836 were given full compensation. So the Union government has informed a parliamentary standing committee that FIRs have been filed for 616 cases, out of which only one person has been convicted under the Act, Manual Scavenging Prohibition Act. And as part of this, meanwhile, they have launched, through budget, they have launched a scheme called Namaste scheme, which is National Action Plan for Mechanized Sanitation Ecosystem, which proposes 350 crore over next 3 years for spending of 350 crore to mechanizing this sewage activities, sewage cleaning activities. The panel urged the government to set up a timeline for enumerating the workers. So it has asked that please set up a timeline to enumerate these workers out of this particular Manual Scavenging Act. Next, panel questions low expenditure for 2 scholarship schemes. So again, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment have been underutilizing the existing funds, especially for the pre-metric and post-metric. Pre-metric in the sense before 10th class, and post-metric is after 10th class. The scholarship issued for the span of 9 months in the first 9 months of 22-23 fiscal year, they were able to spend only 1% of its allocation for the pre-metric scholarship scheme for SC students and others, less than half of the amount allocated for the post-metric scholarship scheme for the SC students. Government data submitted before Parliamentary Standing Committee. So currently, the Ministry of Social Justice have been allocated funds to post-metric and pre-metric scholarship schemes, but out of which for the first 9 months of 22-23 fiscal year, the utilized fund was less than 1% for pre-metric, whereas only half of the scholarship, half of the amount was spent for scholarship for post-metric schemes, for post-metric scholarship. So this can be showcased in your social justice part where, and also governance part, where there is allotment of funds but underutilization of funds. So that you can add this point as part of challenges or negatives which you can tell in the upliftment of SCs, okay? SCs, STs, weaker sections, you can add it up. So they have been, the government have been able to spend 2,500 crore for the allocated 5,660. See how much for the post-metric? I told around 50% was only spent, so around 5,660, only 2,500 crore was able to be utilized by the Ministry of Social Justice, right? Next. GST appellate tribunal, important for your polity as part of judiciary part tribunals. So separate GST appellate tribunal may be headed by former SCZ. So they are going to start a GST appellate tribunal for which will be having the main branch at New Delhi and sub branches in different states to address issues related to this GST involving dues or fines of less than 50 lakh. So, less than 50 lakh, whatever the dues or fines that are to be issued from different enterprises or different institutions or maybe from individuals, the cases will be dealt by the appellate tribunals for GST. So, new tax tribunal expected to address pile up of unresolved legal cases, because the cases are piling up and there is no time for a judiciary to take up these particular cases. That is why separate tribunal, appellate tribunal has been installed, and the former Supreme Court judge will be presiding this particular tribunal. So, it will be headed by former Supreme Court judge or former Chief Justice of a High Court if it is placed in a particular state. So, that is about this, and the important thing is it will be dealing with the cases or dues or fines less than 50 lakh. Amendments have been enabled to tribunal's constitution or expected to be introduced in the Lok Sabha. So, in order to establish a tribunal, again you need an amendment. For that they are going to introduce this amendment procedure for GST's appellate jurisdiction installment, and that will be introduced in Lok Sabha. Right. Next. So, whatever are the important articles, only that I am dealing with. Some articles may be important for today but not for your exam. So, I am skipping up such articles. So, registration for electrical vehicles. So, electric vehicles EV in 2023 calendar 2.7 lakh. Minister Nitin Gadkari has informed Lok Sabha that EV registrations in India rose to 10 lakh in 2022 from 3.29 lakh in 2021. So, that is what they have mentioned, out of which you need to understand that there has been spike from 3.29 lakh to 10 lakh, okay, registrations. Next. India's push for semiconductors. So, as I told you earlier, our semiconductors, our engineering good industries have been seeing some issues, especially in exports, because Chinese market have stopped, have decreased sharply, taking our exports into their market. But now simultaneously other countries are coming up with huge agreements with our country, especially with regard to semiconductor and engineering good industry. So, as part of that, India is taking steps towards increasing this semiconductor industries, especially exports from our country. So, let us see the gist first. So, the push for semiconductors or integrated circuits is far more pressing now. These chips are found practically in every modern electrical appliance. Of course, why are we pushing to semiconductors? First thing, our market should be stronger as part of semiconductors, replacing China in the world arena, in the global arena. However, the second thing is almost every other electronic good that we are using today have chips, almost every other good. So, even if I am describing something on this digital board, there are many chips involved, installed into this particular, integrated into this particular digital board. So, in the same way, we have there is a necessity, so we need to write the benefits out of it. So, more and more nations are trying to turn away from China's dominance in the space, of course. So, why different countries are coming or looking to India? Because it wanted to reduce its dependency from China, which is again a commercializing aspect or a profitary aspect to our country. So, following geopolitical pressures to deleverage themselves from supply chain vulnerabilities, that is what. So, if you are having huge dependencies on an unstable country like China, where I am saying unstable not based on economy but because of their foreign policies, okay, because of that unstable decisions taken by China, it is a far from reliable source for other countries, because we never know when the supply chain will be disrupted because of their worst or any adverse kind of foreign policies. So, that is very different countries are shifting from China and they are looking up to India because of our huge demographic dividend and technologically educated people available in the country. So, while facilities for assembling finished projects have been growing in numbers steadily, fabs for making chipsets, so it is basically the labs or fabs for making chipsets which are crucial parts of the manufacturing process for many electronics are rarer. So currently these assembling units are increasing, but manufacturing units comparatively are less, which we need to work upon. Next, a large part of semiconductor manufacturing involves design and intellectual labor. India has an advantage here, as a large portion of semiconductor design engineers globally are either Indian or Indian origin. As I told you, why everyone are looking up to India? Why we should be focusing on semiconductor industry? Because most of the technologically, I mean, with respect to the semiconductor knowledge or electronics knowledge, almost in the global arena, the people who are excelling in this field are from India or from Indian origin. So that is why our focus should be on this acquisition or capturing the market, global market, right? So out of this, that is entirely the gist. Other things which you need to know. So the union government has disbursed around, so it has given amount of around 1,645 crore in performance linked incentive or incentives PLI for electronics manufacture so far as part of its efforts to bring in more electronic supply chain to India. So the push for semiconductors or integrated circuits ICs is far more pressing now, as these chips are found in practically every modern day appliances, electrical appliances, as I told you, and personal devices. So more and more nations are trying to turn away from China's dominance in the space, following geopolitical pressures, deleverage themselves from supply chain vulnerabilities, because you can see now China is giving direct support to Russia. So their foreign policy is somewhere disturbing the world foreign policies. So that is why people are trying to shift from China, which is again useful or a huge market requirement for India, which we can cash it. Fine. So the Government Investment Agency estimates that the electronics manufacturing as a whole will be worth 300 billion by the financial year 25-26. So you need to know in the coming, next fiscal year or the upcoming fiscal year 25-26. So within the 2 year span, the total market worth would be 300 billion alone for semiconductor based industries. So you need to know now. So now you know where to invest, what to invest for too. Okay. Next, why is India's Kamba at odds with new IPCC report? So we've been discussing that new IPCC report has come. First let me go to the gist. So India, the synthesis report was being given as a last report of 6th IPCC summit. So as part of that, they have clearly mentioned that our focus should be not only for the preserving of the existing climate change, but also we have to make sure that we will not be proceeding. So let me tell you, let me read out and let me explain to you. So IPCC report has told that not degrading existing ecosystems in the first place will do more to lower the impact of the climate crisis than restoring ecosystems. So IPCC report has told that instead of restoring, that means if you are collapsing one particular forest area, let's say mini place where there are a lot of trees and you have collapsed it for construction of some industry or building. Later on you will be restoring it, or you will be trying to build different forests or trees in order to replace this spoiled ecosystem. But IPCC report has told that in the first place you have to lower the impact of climate crisis. That means you should not be disturbing the existing ecosystem. It's not about the restoration. First prevent it from getting depleted. Getting depleted is the one which has been mentioned by IPCC report. What does Kampa say? So before going to that, let me read out the gist now. So that is what IPCC has told. Now going to gist. India is committed to adding up an additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent, or GTCO2E, which is gigatons carbon dioxide equivalent. So whatever the carbon dioxide that is being emitted from our country, carbon sink is the one which will coordinate, or which will not coordinate, which will counter attack this particular carbon dioxide existing in the atmosphere. So as part of that, our carbon sink, we've been committed for 2.5 to 3 tons of 3 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent through additional forest tree cover by 2030. So what is our goal? By 2030, we will be targeting for a carbon sink. That means building up forests. So carbon sink, what are these carbon sink? So these are which will protect our protect country or a particular ecosystem from increasing carbon dioxide. So to go away from this global warming, we will be having this carbon sink, and this will be can be established by afforestation. So what is our commitment here? So we will be working for additional forest development to get this cumulative carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent by afforestation. This is what our target as part of our climate commitments with UN. The CAMPA, which is your, where is it? Just a moment. Yes. So compensatory afforestation fund. Compensatory afforestation fund management and planning authority. So it is an authority which is chaired by Environment Minister or Ministry of Environment. They have been come under fire for facilitating destruction of natural ecosystems in exchange for the forest to be spent in faraway places. Basically, CAMPA has a clause that, so if at all we are conserving one or we are utilizing the existing forest area or existing any tree cover area, if we are trying to use it for industrial purpose, then the same thing will be restored by afforestation in some other area, which is actually prohibited or which is against the IPCC policy. That is what this article says about. So repeating it again, IPCC report says that we cannot restore. Right now the issue is not with restore. Preserve first of all what is existing. That means don't disturb the existing ecosystem because it is far threatening. It is really like less affordable, or it is costliest manner, or we cannot restore the existing ecosystem. So that is what IPCC told. But what our CAMPA or our own rules say is that if at all we are using any place which is covered by trees or which has tree cover, we will be replacing it. If at all we have to construct some industries, then we will be restoring it, or we will do afforestation in some other place as a compensation, which is prohibited or which is not under the lines of IPCC report. That is what this article says. So IPCC report also found that the sole option with more mitigating potential than reducing conversion of natural ecosystems was solar power. So they focused that yes, if you wanted to convert to clean energy, go for the solar power and reduce conversion of natural ecosystem. That is what our aim is. Don't use the natural ecosystem, don't disturb it. That is what IPCC report has mentioned, right? So that is entirely about this article. We can just go through this. And one thing is, the money paid sits in a fund overseen by CAMPA as of 2019 was 47,000 crore. So that is what they've utilized the funds for afforestation purposes. So that is about this article. So I think this is the last article for today. Yes. So that's it for today. Thank you for the session. We'll meet in tomorrow's current affairs. Thank you.